Yeah.
Hi. So, you're from Times?
I'm from Times of India group newspaper. NavBharat Times is Hindi newspaper in Delhi NCR, also published in Lucknow and Bombay. And it has circulation of 6 lakh copies, and with readership of 20 lakh. At par with Times of India, English newspaper, and Hindustan Times.
Very good. Why did you want to interview me?
Pardon me?
Why did you want to interview me?
Because I have seen, first thing is that Hindi people, because you spend most of time here in India and in North Delhi.
Yes.
So Hindi people, they don't know about you.
Yes.
Few people know, but most of the people are not aware of such a great saint is here. So I thought they must know. Because I have heard you at Parmat Niketan. I saw you are giving spirituality without any phrase. It is in the pure form.
Yeah.
That's why I thought people should know about you. Only after listening you, I decided.
Okay.
Not just seeing so much people are, because people are everywhere.
Yes.
If I go to any ashram, people are there.
Yes.
But content I have seen, that forced me to request for interview.
Okay. Yes, good.
Should I start?
Yes, please. Yes, good.
Sir, as many people are not aware in North India about you. If I say I have listened Mooji, they say who he is, what he talks about. So, is it possible for you to give me just 5 points, so that people can have an idea? Those people who are not going to listen you on YouTube, those people who are not going to attend your, just they have one idea. What Babaji is saying. Can you just 5 points? Just
well, first, that whatever path people are following, either of the main religions or any spiritual path, in a genuine way, their end of search, the ultimate realization, is to be found within themselves. That's one. That also it is the simplest path, the most simple path, and direct also. This non-dual teaching, and its origins also are rooted in this country's history, spiritual history. It is the essence of Lord Krishna's teachings, Lord Shiva himself, Sri Adi Shankar, and
sorry, I missed this name.
Yes, Adi Shankara.
Okay.
Adi Shankara. And in more recent times, the teachings of Sri Ramana Maharshi of the Tiruvannamalai, my own direct master Sri Punja, Papaji, Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj, are also great sages of this country, and that directed earnest seekers, to this simple and a direct discovery of the truth, which is identical with their inmost nature. Yeah, that's that when you come to the complete recognition of this truth, you will find that it is the same one truth that permeates all religions and spiritual philosophy. It is the same. It is the same root, and that it is not a creative exploration, because it is already perfect. It only needs to be discovered. Therefore, it is suited for all types of people. And it does not, because it is not focusing on within the world of the body-mind fixations, but upon our essential being. It bypasses every possibility of conflict. It does not criticize any other path, nor fights with any government. It is much purer than that. I would put these as the fundamental and unique aspects of this pointing or teaching.
Yeah. Just 1 or 2 lines. And you have said that the searching within is the basic thing.
Yes.
So 1, 2, 3 lines, how to do it?
Yes, it really, the best is to find someone, already a realized being who has done it, who is clear, who is cured of the delusion which is created through ego identity. This will be the best guide. And then to follow implicitly their guidance. Such a one will not exploit the seeker.
Sir, when there is some guru, there are chances of exploitation.
Yes.
Is guru is needed? Is it essential?
I feel that rare is it that someone by themselves, even with the assistance of good books, the ways of the mind are so cunning, so deceitful, that it is very helpful to have a competent guide who knows the ways of the mind and can guide the seeker. They see when the seeker is stuck and hasn't realized their stuckness, then they can point this out and free them from this type of trap. You see? So a teacher is very, very helpful. If I say it's not needed, it would not be helpful to the seeker. It might sound good to their minds, but in practice they will run into a lot of trouble.
So it's not essential, but it is helpful.
Very
Should I
helpful.
put like this?
It was very, very helpful. It will be a very, very, very... the thing is, if you have a true teacher, you understand? As with everything else, if you have a truly competent teacher, the one who really is on your side, they don't want something from you, and but really, and also because the way is so simple, you see, it is more easy to see, to enjoy the fruits of it. and to not get lost into complexities. You see, that sometimes maybe someone who may be out to exploit something would probably find ways to hide that, but in a very simple path. You know, when I say simple, I mean that even in one session, in one day, someone may be already have a competence or a certain unexpected maturity to say, whoa, I see this, I see this.
Sir, it happens if I practice what you say, slowly I reach there, and or it is that some flash comes, or it is the same state comes. It happens suddenly?
Actually, the recognition happens in an instant. The recognition happens because it's not that it is difficult. It's just because we are so accustomed through our conditioning to think a certain way. And then your mind has to be able to do this, to look through conditioning, and then at the same time to look fresh. You see, because if we have a strong sense of who we believe we are, then everything has to come to that, to report to that sense of who we think we are. So, but with this, you have to be willing to somehow let go for a moment of the ideas you have about yourself, which are not facts, but they are largely imagined. The mind has to be open enough to grasp something outside of the flow of your conditioning.
So it is like flash.
It is like a flash, but I don't want to give too much mysticism about it. It's just that if your mind is too tight, then it won't be able to be able to see from outside itself. It's like it's always looking from inside the house. But your true ability, because you're greater and beyond your mind, you're able to also see your mind. When you realize that you can also see your mind, then the necessary space is there to recognize what it is that sees the mind. Yeah.
If that space is created, then one will be able to recognize.
One will be able to recognize, however, the reflex and the force of habit tends to keep going back to the old references.
So it is possible that one has acquired that state and again.
Yes.
So it is
for a while. You see, it is almost as though there is such a powerful tendency in the human psyche to identify with the form, which is the body, and with the conditioning, which is what the body has been exposed to, and to accept that as the fundamental basis of who we are. And once we accept this, it is difficult to change it. It's like if somebody gave you the name John when you're a child. Once you accept the name John, it's very difficult to forget it and to take another name. You see, the reflex is you still think you're John. And another example I could give, because sometimes in your country you change currency. Yes? Currency meaning, like in England, for instance, we are using pounds, shillings and pence.
Yes.
And then we changed a metric system and we became pounds and new pence. It's a different system. And so when you are changing from the old system to the new system, it takes a long time, a good while, before you are able to think in both systems. But after a while, you change over and then you think in a new system.
Transition period.
transition. Yes, yes. So although the seeing is instant, the period for truly the transition to adapt into the new way, that may take some time. And in this period and process of adapting to the new way, the old mind is still coming in to try and it seems like to bring you back to the old ways. But once you are truly cured, yeah, of this, I call it a kind of disease actually, and the disease is the disease of ignorance or sleeping to what is true. Once you truly wake up, and then to go back to the old way, it becomes finished. I would say, I don't like to say this, but because I don't feel you'll find an awakened being who will say, yes, I've finished. We don't use this language, but they will say it is...
die again, die, to born again.
Yes, yes. It is like something dies and is renewed. And when it is truly renewed, and then it is just like that. To go back again, it's rare. But in the beginning, sometimes it happens like that.
Sir, how can you forget about who are you when you, in professional life, that is your only reference? And you have said that.
Yes, not only in professional life, in all of life.
Yeah, even in family life.
Yes,
my wife will say Rajesh.
Yes.
In office, they will say Rajesh.
Yes.
I am going to again refer to this my identity.
Well, this is the beauty, you see, because the change is not made at the Rajesh level. It is at the deeper level of consciousness. Something awakens to the reality of a deeper consciousness. You see, the Rajesh continues to manifest and to seem to grow in the dynamic level of consciousness, meaning that
the level.
Yeah, the level of what we think of, you and me and this and that. Because even for an awakened being, their activities don't stop. Activities may still continue, but the importance of that, based upon your identity in that level, that will have changed. Your awareness is much deeper. You're in a deeper state of awareness, but still there's a superficial identity, in a sense, which is more playful. And I feel that in a way, it is like, I could say, this is what consciousness intended to do in the beginning. But consciousness did not make a mistake. It created the sense of a mistake. You understand? It is so perfect, it cannot make mistake. The only way that it can seem to make a mistake is through what we in this country call Maya. It does it through its illusory power to create a sense of ignorance. It creates the way in which it can experience in the wrong way through delusion and so on, and believe in that for a while in order to strengthen the game of manifestation. What is the higher consciousness of man must be the urge to be free from the tyranny of his own mind. It is not the phenomenal world that is his enemy. It is his own mind.
Actually, when we are not realizing this, how we can ask for this? When I am not realizing, I am victim of my mind. I am victim of my conditioning. Because how I will ask this?
It is built in the game that you cannot win.
So
wait, let me explain.
It's very depressing.
No, it's not. No. It is built in the game that your arrogance cannot bear good fruit. Then at a certain point, you will suffer, and your suffering will develop the aspiration in you and the humility to say, by myself I can't do it. My mind is not good to do this. And the suffering itself creates or gives the opportunity to have the aspiration to seek help. When a man seeks help, he becomes open.
Sir, suffering is essential for spiritual growth.
Unless it is already inside your destiny, that it does not need to suffer to awaken, because some beings, they awaken without suffering. And there are different kinds of suffering. There's a suffering which is not so physical. There's a suffering which comes through a wish to a sense that there's something to know, and not knowing what it is to know is a kind of suffering. Sometimes you have an urge inside, there's something to find out, but it is not yet clear what it is that you need to find out. That is kind of like suffering also.
That is spiritual suffering?
It is just a yearning that is necessary to give the impulse to go beyond the ordinary.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sir, you have said that Guru is essential. Spiritual teacher is useful.
Yes.
Is helpful in.
I would say it's essential. You know. I would say essential. Yeah, because the Guru is need not. I mean, the Guru does not need to have a form. He might have had a form before, and if, for instance, many people today love Krishna, but Krishna is not in the form anymore. It is not in the time period of his bodily life. And yet many people are falling in love with Krishna today and having a living relationship with something.
Yes. Like Mira and many others.
Yes. It's not just imagination. It's not just imagination. The same with Christ. Many people 2,000 years ago, and then many people now are having perhaps a more pure relationship with Jesus Christ than his direct disciples had.
Sir, isn't it mental projection?
No, mental projection cannot bring true or lasting happiness. It cannot. Your love for someone, like a Christ or someone who the very vibration of their being is more pure, because you can say, well, I could have the love for Napoleon Bonaparte, and I pray, Napoleon, please help me, and nothing happened. You can pray to the Christ consciousness and find that irrefutable, unchallengeable things happen that did not come from your power to affect your condition, your life also. We can say these things and people can believe or not believe, of course, no? This is why I don't so much talk about this, because people say, no, I don't agree, I don't believe. I'd rather work in a way that is where the emphasis is not just on belief, but on experience.
Yes.
Because then you won't argue. There's no, in experience you cannot argue against experience.
As you have said, Guru is essential. How to recognize true Guru or fake Guru? These days there are many gurus, many spiritual teachers, and claiming too high.
Yes, it is depend upon your own maturity. You will get the Guru which is suited to your own maturity at the time. Sometimes you will meet maybe false Guru, but it is still good to meet a false Guru, because he will get rid of some of the falseness in you to expose it. No, it's true. You know, it's like many people come into life and they think I deserve to have the best wife or the best husband. But your maturity may not be at a stage where you will get the best. You maybe get the worst one first. That is more suited to you. You come and you are, you have very, very bad ways, and then you want to have the most beautiful being in the world, and you think you deserve it. But then you have very bad habits, and then they will not stay with you. They will not even come near you. You see, you get something which is compatible with your energy, not just with your physical characteristics, but with your inner maturity. There are forces working beyond the surface mind that arranges your life for you. Who will you meet, and how they will impact on you, depending upon. Because you have to meet someone who is not so much like you. They have to be sufficiently different from you in order to stimulate growth in you. You see? And you would not, if you had the power, you would not know who to choose for that. We would always choose the things from the senses and think, oh yeah, I like. But then life gives you what you need in order to learn and to grow. And sometimes it is to suffer and have a really bad relationship. But that's what is better for you in order to get rid of your own bad things and to give you enough experience so that you become mature enough to meet someone at a higher level.
But sirs, there are few people, they are in the web of bad gurus till whole life.
Yes.
It may be possible that one is not able to realize that he's following fake guru and the whole life is wasted.
Well, he has got to himself be fake. The devotee also has a lot of fake in them. Maybe they want a guru for the wrong purpose. You understand? The life is so infinitely wise. It will not allow you to make a mistake. You go to exactly the guru that your maturity allows you for the moment. You don't have to stay forever. Some people are married. They have the most terrible relationship. And they never separate. And maybe they have a very, very bad life.
Yes.
Others, they get married and they have a terrible relationship. And they separate and they find a better life.
Yes.
What determines that one stays and one goes, it is very difficult to say, depending upon your background. You may think, when I marry you, I said I will stay with you forever. But God has not required that you stay forever. Because you put marriage as a high thing and you say, yes, God wants us to be married. No, God wants you to be free. He wants you to know Him and for you to be free. And then to find the love which is true, that does not serve the lie. And so, you see, sometimes we are trapped by too much tradition and then you're just living tradition and you see, it's very difficult to say, but I can give you a clue. If you meet someone and in their presence, your mind automatically comes to a kind of feeling of peace, and you feel a natural respect for them, even if you don't quite understand what they're saying, but energetically you feel good in their presence, then it might be useful to spend some time with them. Okay? But it is also possible that you meet someone and you don't feel good in their presence.
And he's the right person.
And he's still good also. But there is something in us that knows when I feel challenged and I want to run away, but there's still something that wants me to stay here and I feel it is good. You have to have some discernment. No? And these are not things that you can write on paper. You have to feel it. We have the capacity in us. If you are not doing the thing for the wrong reason, you will find the right help to go beyond. But if you're doing because you want a guru to make you rich, or you want a guru to help you to beat your enemy or something, then you'll get into a lot of trouble. You'll meet a very bad guru, but the perfect guru for you. And then when you end up in jail and you lose anything, you say, yes, don't blame my guru. No, it's me actually. I wanted this thing. I wanted the guru. I wanted the guru to be like how I want the guru to be, rather than to really meet someone who I respect so much that their guidance helped me to change from my bad ways.
So, for guru you have told. What about disciple? What you see in a right disciple? How you choose the person is ready for shifting?
Yes.
Consciousness?
Well, here, I don't. So many people come to satsang, especially with facilities like internet and YouTube and so on. They choose me. I don't really choose them directly. No, only a sense of the compatibility they feel with my words already begin to help us to select each other a little bit. No, so I am very happy for this, because through YouTube and so on, they can start to listen, and it is already doing something, and they're really, okay, and they are maturing. They're getting a bit and say, okay, there is something here. I want to find out more, and I like what this person is speaking. You see, so by the time they come to a satsang like here, because in India, many people are come. We never met before.
Yeah.
They really know me.
Okay.
Because they see on television or something.
Yeah.
But we never meet, and they come here all the way to India. Sometimes first time they come here because something feels. I want something. Maybe he can help me to be finished with my story. To be finished with something. Is it? So I am lucky in a way, because the YouTube satsang helps to filter out, because there are many people who would have probably come, but they're looking for a guru to bless them, to have a lot of money. And then they see, no, he's not the right one. He's talking about emptiness and another place. So the internet, the internet.
They want to fill their houses.
Yes, yeah.
Empty their mind.
Yes. So those ones already, they come and say, oh, no, nothing. Let's go to another one that has a lot of bling, and he looks like he can help me or something. So I find that it kind of works, that people come. And they seem largely to be the right kind of mentality to benefit from the interactions that they have with me.
Sir, in India it is being said intolerance is increasing, religious intolerance.
Yeah.
What is your view on it?
If intolerance is increasing, it must have originally been tolerance in the beginning.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Very good.
Yes. And then before the concept of tolerance, there was a natural living together, before even the need to say tolerance. When you start to speak of tolerance, already some division is happening. Then when you speak about intolerance, it's like it is more widening, the reason is that people are again floating too much in the region of the belief that they are merely their culture, their body, their religious and social conditioning, because those are the areas whereby differences can be measured. At a deeper level, the differences are fading. When man lives from the heart, he is not finding difference. When he lives from merely egoic mind, then he lives in a very fearful realm. And the man who is fearful, his reflexes is to strike and to destroy. And the man who lives from a higher space of consciousness, his reflex is to love and to harmonize and to encourage and to unify. This is different.
Sir, what is limitation of yoga? Because these days too much yoga can do everything, and in the yoga festival I have seen people are just focusing on postures, exercise.
The physical aspect of yoga, and the yoga that is particularly known in the West, is very much dominated by the kind of physical asanas and the strengthening of the body, flexibility of the body, and these things. It's wrapped in a nice package because it seems to be saying that this is good for body, mind, and spirit, like that. But very few examples are there to show that those who practice yoga and who are regarded as yogis and quite advanced don't necessarily reflect that they are more human inside their heart. They are more developed in terms of what I would call a human development, which is to be compassionate, empathize with other beings, to have love and fairness and compassion and contentment. These are the true qualities. This is true wealth for me. I don't have nothing against money. Money has its place too, but I think it is highly overrated. As it is not a virtue. It is just.
Is money or yoga?
No, what I'm saying that things, when we want things, and a yogi also wants things. He wants to be fit. He wants to be beautiful.
Yeah.
You see, like this, and also he is invested in perpetuating his biological life as long as possible, because he believes really that's mostly all there is to him. Whereas the yogi of the heart is very different. You see, his emphasis is not only to perpetuate his body, but actually to wake up from the sleep of ignorance as to his true nature. You see, it's very different. So this yoga in this country is called Gyan Yoga, yoga of knowledge, of self-knowledge, which most Westerners don't know anything about it. They think yoga means yoga mat and asanas and this type of thing. So the Gyan Yoga, which is the highest form of yoga, very few people know about.
Sir, Kundalini Jagran is possible?
Huh?
Kundalini Jagran, is that possible? Awakening of Kundalini.
That must be one expression of yogic practitioners or so on. I don't know much about Kundalini. It's kind of Shakti energies and stuff like this. It's not the way that we are working. I find that I find many people who come to satsang have really been disturbed by some of these energies. They have not really understood them, and so are having out of balance energetic disturbed states and stuff like this. I'm not saying that is the norm, but I'm not so familiar with the Kundalini practices.
Is it okay to take money for you're teaching yoga, Gyan Yoga, or take for Diksha? Is it okay to take money?
I think that it is fine to take money because, for instance, on a practical basis, in order to come to a place like this, for instance, we came to India and we are not charging for satsang. We say you can donate if you want. If you can't, it's fine. Everybody can come to satsang. Cool. These satsangs are broadcast throughout the world freely also. And all of these things, they cost money. It's naive to think, well, you just do it all for free, because it is not for free. We are in London now. We went to hire a hall for a weekend in London, and they wanted £25,000 just for 2 sessions in a large hall in centre of London. £25,000 for 2. You see, so it is a bit naive. If we could have satsangs for many years, I had satsangs without charging anything for them. But when you have to have large gatherings, you have to make sure there's toilet facilities. Now, no place you can go in any country and just do that, because they want the government wants to know that people are safe, that there's enough toilets, there's facilities, there's insurance. All these things become realities, and someone have to address them. So I feel that it is fine. I think if people spend money in this way, it is the best way, because they're supporting a work that is really good for every country, in fact. Yeah.
Sir, like Raman Maharshi, they could do satsang in open park, sitting on the like this.
Yes.
Isn't it possible right in these days?
Yes. If I did this, I would not be able to travel. I would not travel. I would stay home, which I like very much. They will tell you, I don't like traveling. I'm very happy to stay home. Yeah, stay home, but most people cannot come to where I live. I'm living in Portugal, and most people, to get even visa to go there and to so on, it's and also it's even we live in a nice place. We have a big forest. Our buildings are quite humble. They are very humble buildings.
But modern day teachers, spiritual teachers, live in so posh. And
well, that's not us.
Okay.
That's not us. I live in a hut, a wooden hut, actually.
Okay.
Okay.
It's great to know this.
Yes, I live in a wooden. We all live in. Some people living in tents. Some live in wooden huts. We don't have. We're not so opulent, and we don't have an ambition to be.
It's great. Sir, there's very difficult thing is that I know many things, that I know that I should empty my mind. I know that this conditioning, I have to be free. This real freedom is being free from conditioning.
Yeah.
But knowing and doing, this is very difficult.
Can I have some eye drops, bit? Okay. Yes. It is very, very difficult, and a lot of people put a lot of energy. A lot of people put a lot of energy to try and counteract the influences of their conditioning. And that can take a very long time. Yeah. But this is not the way that we go about it. We don't try to, break conditioning in that way. The conditioning, we must also find out what is it that gets conditioned. You see? The first understanding was, what is it that gets conditioned? And I say that it is your mind and not your being that gets conditioned. The conditioning is in the mind. And because for most beings, which is like what I call a being, is consciousness with a body functioning, and then the consciousness is living in a self-portrait which is conditioned to believe, I am this body, I am this person. So the consciousness as actually living in a very limited expression of what consciousness is. Consciousness localized, conditioned to believe that is merely the body, and the conditioning that arises, or the programming that arises inside the body. It is consciousness, but it is a very impeded consciousness, very limited form of consciousness. So with this belief, the consciousness can, you may say, transact in life on that very, very limited identity. I am this person, I'm a male, I'm the age of my body, I was brought up here, I studied here. And that becomes the kind of currency to transact between other beings, because nobody seems to want to know more about you than that. So even if you go for a job or something, they'll say something about yourself. You say, I was born in Puerto Rico, I am 27 years old, I studied civil engineering for so-and-so at this university, and I graduated in 2002, and now I did some work experience in this place, and I'm free at the moment, and I'm looking for this place. I'm very suitable, flexible, I've got this kind of passport, I can travel, I speak 3 languages. All these kind of like references are to do with the body-mind and the conditioning that arose for the body-mind. No one is going to ask you, but yes, okay, that is about what you have done and what you believe, but what about your real being? Nobody's going to ask that. So we don't feel it is necessary. It doesn't occur to us that this unexplored dimension of ourselves should be looked at. Nobody looks at it unless life compels you, through circumstances, often painful ones, to look beyond the shallow field of kind of cultural conditioning and so on, and pushes you in a deeper place of consciousness.
But the thing is, how to put persistent effort. I
Okay.
tried today.
Yes.
Now I am engaged in my daily routine and forget.
Yeah.
Then pain comes. I realize that this is no. I'm on wrong path. Again I forget.
Yes.
How to persistency? How to maintain?
Yes.
That is a challenge.
So I said, first of all, it is the mind and the sense of identity that really absorbs conditioning. Okay? And so what happens here when people come to satsang, rather than say that you must try and change this, which necessitates you believing that you are already this thing. So I'm reinforcing an identity on you, which I know not to be true. So I don't want to work with you with that to reinforce an identity that you are going to later on come to see it's not true. So what my emphasis is on, your sense of person, and all throughout your life you've had different, you've behaved differently, had different ideologies, and throughout all these different phases, none of them stayed. But you are aware of all of them. That which is aware of all these changing states, you see, is that also changing, you see? So it shifts the attention away from the personal mode into what is it that observes all of this. And as you begin to explore, you begin to find, but wait a minute, there's greater space here that has not been looked at or looked from. And you begin to see that, wait a minute, I have not had reason to look from this place, but the fact is, all the while it has been here. That has been there, but I've not been conscious of it. This is why automatically I know I am not my mind, because there's something here which is not bound by the mind. So this is already a recognition, an opening. And then as soon as you begin to see that by looking from here, observing your conditioning, tendencies and so on of the body-mind, and not identifying with them, one finds that, wait a minute, but I still feel complete, even without this identification. And as that is a fundamental realization, because then you don't feel bound by that conditioned realm, that conditioned identity. And how that is experienced internally, that is, just groundbreaking, because you're not fighting with conditioning. You simply recognize it is a mode of consciousness. It is not your fundamental nature. And that's why you keep on changing all the time. And will continue changing from here also. But underneath this, the common denominator consciousness remains the same. It is the same. It is not that which is changing. What is changing is the kind of what I call more the dynamic identity, which is the consciousness which is growing and learning and becoming and that. So it is very, very different in the experience. So you will see that in the same way that you have a name, and you don't have to remember your name is John. Now you know your name is John. But you neither remember it nor forget it. You are going about doing your work and so on, and somebody calls George, you don't respond. You keep on doing your stuff. They say, John, yes, like this. You don't even take time to think, oh, I need to remember. No, it's right here, and yet you're not making any effort to remember it.
Yes.
Nor to forget it, you see? It is so in real time with your life. In the same way, the consciousness is there. You don't need to do something to be conscious. That consciousness is always present with you. And it is, in the root, not conditioned. It has an aspect which manifests as the conditioned person. But you see that person is really just an idea, it's a myth, when seen from the deeper place of consciousness. And that is experienceable. So this is where the difference is. If you try to change, it's almost something feels unnatural, because something believes I am this, and you're trying to stop believing that you are this. That's very different. There's still somebody there who feels I am this, but I've got to try and change how I feel about myself. That's very different from looking at the thing and recognizing that which is looking is different from the thing you're looking at. It is very different, you see.
Cut from this.
Yes.
Seeing oneself from distance.
Seeing the idea you have of yourself that previously you accepted as a fact, but now begin to see it is a fiction.
Fact becoming fiction.
Fact appearing to be fiction, but all the while remain as a fact. Underneath, now seeing the fiction to be not what it is, and the fact of what it is becomes self-evident. It still is a transition whereby doubts creep in, moods come, doubts come, but gradually the awakened energy continues to grow, and the what I would call the illusory one continues to fade.
So regular satsang is very important.
So
regular satsang, listening.
Regular satsang, I feel it is very important because.
What should be the ideal period? Daily listening or weekly listening or?
Just as often as you can listening.
Okay.
and best still to be in the actual energy field of a live satsang also is very good. If you cannot, then you can listen with your headphones. Also, we have things like some guided meditations, for instance, which doesn't. It's not calling for the mind to try and use the mind. You can more relax and listen to my voice as it just guides you effortlessly back into your natural state. That is also a form of satsang. It's very, very enjoyable and very profound also.
In India, few people, they do satsang. I am not body. I am not mind. I am spirit. I am not body. I am mind. Is it useful?
Well, it's not so good because there's still a you who is saying you're not this. I am not the body. Why you say you're not the body? Because you believe you are the body.
Yeah. As you have said that if we say tolerance word is says something.
Yes. If you say I am not the body, it's like you're trying to convince yourself of something that you believe. You see? It's different than you say, who am I? It creates more space. You see? But if you say, I am not the body, who is the one who is saying I'm not the body? I am not the mind. And then who am I then? It must continue to say then who am I? Because it's simply assuming I am not the body. Okay, I'm not the body. Why am I not the body? If somebody goes, okay, you're saying you're not the body. Why are you not the body? Then maybe they're not able to understand. They say, oh yeah, actually, I never thought of that actually.
No, there is no understanding, just saying, repeating words like parrot.
Yes. Some words are precisely only for repeating. They don't have to be understood, like a mantra also. If you understand it is one thing, but if you don't, also the mantra has a kind of vibration quality that actually can kind of clean the more stagnant and suppressed energies. It can do that without even understanding.
Really, mantras are powerful.
Yes. Yeah, they have a power, and we can't keep on dismissing to say because we don't understand it means they don't exist. Because in the same way that even scientifically now, people are saying that if they take some water and they put it under intense magnification and look at the behavior of its molecular structure or something, and they say that if you curse the water, it has a certain effect on it, and if you say to the water, thank you so much, I love you, it also has a different shape. It takes the crystals take a different shape. They're more harmonious and so on. Now, once upon a time, people just say rubbish. Even now, people say rubbish and so on. You see, so we are discovering things about the universe, and in the same way, many things that people spoke of spiritually thousands of years ago are being treated now like they're great scientific discoveries, when they were understood internally not with a test tube and so on. The test tube now is confirming
Yes.
to the mind of those who are more, who is more lenient towards, towards the mental and psychological and scientific approach. But the evidence was there in other ways, but not really accepted as fact.
Babaji, meditation is not overrated. What do you think? Benefits of meditation.
Meditation, a lot of time people, they're meditating and they become attached to meditation. But you must find out who the meditator is, because where it is for me important is that, suppose you are meditating, you sit to meditate at 7 o'clock and you sit, you make your room nice, you take off your phone and you sit down, you light some incense and you sit down and stuff. You are aware you're doing this. You're aware of the intention to meditate. Then you begin to meditate. What is the goal of your meditation? Is it? Someone may say, well, the goal of my meditation is to reach the self. Okay? So there's awareness of the preparation for meditation, the one who thinks they're going to meditate, and the intention of the meditation is already watched. And the goal, if it is successful, it is still visible to that which is watching it. So actually the goal of the meditation is to reach the place of that which is watching everything, but itself is not thinking. So I can put it that way, and people might say, whoa, that's really destroying meditation. I would say it is a simple way to come to a fundamental experiential seeing that that which you believe you are, what you think you want to do, the intention of what you want, and the fruition of your efforts, all of that is perceived in consciousness. The very consciousness you're searching to find is the very consciousness you're searching with and through.
So meditation is helpful if with right intention.
Meditation is helpful. Simple meditations are helpful to purify the mind of its more, Rajasic tendencies and so on. But what is really helpful also, alongside the meditation, is self-inquiry. Self-inquiry is very powerful, because it is like a mirror that you look in with the depth of your being to see what is not true in you, but what is true you cannot see, you can just be.
Sir, what are the right questions to be asked in this self-inquiry in meditation?
One of the right questions is starting first with some basic facts. You know that you are perceiving your thoughts. The thoughts are being perceived. All those thoughts, feelings, sensations, names and forms, the sense of time, all of that is being perceived. Then you say, yes, it is being perceived. Of course, otherwise I could not speak about it. Meaning that I'm perceiving all of these things. That which is perceiving them, can that also be perceived? This is an interesting thing. That which is perceiving everything else, whether it is born out of the 5 elements, or out of imagination, or the mind, everything reports to it. That to which all things report in terms of their sensation, or their apparent existence or reality, that which detects them, can that itself be seen? Is it an object? Is it a person where this ultimate perception is occurring? Then you have to find this out, you see. Whatever I can see, I cannot be that fundamentally. It is only something apparent to me. It's only something that is arising in my field of consciousness, and it is perceived. It is perceived to arise, to be present for a certain period, and also to depart, to disappear. I cannot be any of that, because I witness both its presence and its absence. Who am I? What is it that says I? What is it that says I, that is perceiving all these things? Does this I have any substance by which it can be known? And if it can be known, by what can it be known? These are atomic questions, you see. They cut down the whole super banyan tree of the mind is going to be chopped.
But if we tell someone, he will say he has gone mad. Who is this? Who is
This is a very private question.
Yeah. Not to be.
It is for those who really
Understand.
have not just understanding, may not understand it yet, but they have a yearning inside themselves for knowledge, for that kind of knowledge which sets you free. The others, if they be there, they run away. They can't.
This is very complicated.
So it would appear complicated only because it is not within our conditioned habit to look to look backward. Everything you're looking forward through the senses and the mind. But to turn the attention inward, you're very lazy.
Yeah.
You see, there's a lot of resistance to do it.
When I have to do meditation, there are always hundreds excuses.
Yes.
And for spending 100 hours on Facebook is easy.
Very easy.
Sir, last question, because I think it's too.
It is fine. It is what it is.
Sir, how to handle sexual energies? Because this is because in Indian tradition it is said celibacy, and the modern sexologists say do whatever you want. This is just like you can't preserve it. If you will preserve, it will come out in the night. So don't preserve it. Use it, throw it, sexual energy. And the traditional Indian Rishi, Mahatma, Sant, sages said, celibate. If you want to do self-realization, celibacy is essential.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree that with that statement, if there's such a statement, that celibacy really means to be celibate with your thoughts, not just with your body. Celibacy means to not be promiscuous with thoughts, rather than it's not just a biological thing. You see, that is a true celibate, in fact. You know, there was a story once that said that Krishna, there was once in Varanasi, the festival for women. Only women could go, but they had to cross the river Ganga. You know it? Yes, they had to cross the river, and only celibate boatmen could take them across. But some women came very late in the night, and all the boatmen were sleeping, and they needed to get across. So they asked, is there anybody celibate amongst the men who were awake to take us across the river? Is there anybody who is pure enough in mind and heart? Is there anybody who is celibate to take us across the river?
Only celibate was given this.
Yes, and all the men, when they say, what about you, they looked on the ground.
He was so honest.
Right? And then Krishna say, I will take them across. But he was known to be a great lover.
Yeah.
He said, but how can you take them across? Because if you take them across and you're not celibate, the boat will turn over, everybody will drown. So Krishna got on the boat and said, all of you come, I'll take you to the river across. So he took them across the river and they were all merry, everybody was happy. What kind of celibacy did Krishna have then? You see?
For self-discovery, there's only one way or there are many ways?
There are many ways.
Many ways.
It's a question of how much time you have.
This is not the only way there. Who am I? This questioning once.
It is perhaps the most direct.
Okay. I know I have so many things, but I know
it is okay. It is okay because I am enjoying you. I'm enjoying to.
Can I keep on?
Yeah, you can keep on.
Please, thank you.
We can take some tea. Maybe it would be nice.
So nice of you giving me so much time.
No. I'm enjoying because your questions are good and I like it. I like it.
Sir, the person who is self-realized, who is out of body mind, does he get angry? or no?
Angry.
Yes. Does he is affected by negative emotions or no?
Yes. What happened in the awakened state, and I'm happy you talk about it, because every feeling is possible to come, but there's no attachment in them.
Okay.
You see, it's not like there's no story being developed around any feeling. So though an awakened being may exhibit expressions of anger, and then it's gone, it's finished. And it was not personal. It's like impersonal anger. Can you imagine such a thing?
Okay.
But normally we only know personal anger.
Actually, if say the person is being angry, it means he is not awakened. This is common.
Yeah. Yes.
But it is not true. He will be angry,
It's
but not from inside.
Yes, it is not. It is not, and also he will not hold any memory about it. It will be so spontaneous, like any other feeling can come.
Like a kid.
Yes.
A minute.
Yeah. Yes.
Within minutes he is
yes.
angry and
yeah, they don't have any attachment to it.
no baggage.
There's no baggage. Mm.
Sir, in your view, what is solution to terrorism?
I don't feel that there's an immediate, a solution to terrorism on its global expression. Because that kind of terrorism belongs to the human kingdom that is based on I am this body. This is the fundamental, I would say, trigger for all conflict. I am the body, and from there, whatever conditioning. I'm Muslim, I'm Christian, I'm Hindu, I'm whatever. These are the kind of the early viruses that set the scene for sort of like an epidemic.
Actually, this is root cause of all sufferings,
Yes.
all problems, all corruption,
Yes.
all terrorism,
Yes.
for everything.
Yes, but what I told you earlier, it is something that I really will talk about it, because very few human beings will accept what I say. So at a certain level, I'm going to say, yes, ego is the main cause of our suffering in the world. Ignorance, you can also call it ignorance, is the main cause of suffering in the world. I am the body is the main cause of suffering in the world. The more we are divorced from our central understanding, the more complex life will become, the more unfair, the more pressure there will be. And it will seem as though, why is it then that, I am told by even sacred books that I must stick to my moral principles, and yet if I stick with them, I probably won't be able to feed my family.
Yes.
Okay? The man who is only strong and firm about moral principles don't necessarily have any spiritual power.
Yes.
Can I say it like this? The man who has mainly moral principles don't necessarily possess any spiritual power.
Yes, there are many people who
Okay.
are very moral and but
Yeah. It has to go beyond the morals. It must go into ultimate understanding of one's nature. When a human being comes into the realization of their true self, then they are rising as a new power. They're not just a good person. They are presence. And that's a different thing altogether. A person who is a good person, good principles, doesn't steal and so on, yeah, especially because he's taught you should not do this, you should not do that, and he follows tuk, 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 tuk. No, I can't do this. Tuk, tuk, tuk. They may also suffer in this world because there's more to learn than just being morally principled. You see, you have to be adaptable. You have to sort of use different powers within your capacity to grow and to be a full being. The one who has awakened to the truth also will have principles as well. But their principles are more like a kind of spiritual and universal principles. But it's coming with a different power. They're awake. They don't have the same. A mind might be really good, but its energy is very flat. You say, no, you shouldn't do this. And people go, get out of here. And stop. You got no power. But someone who is awake, meaning that you are of the kingdom of God, in a sense, it's a different feeling. When people meet you, they're also meeting that energy. We have many occasions, in fact, where I have myself gone or someone from the Sangha, we go to a shop, for instance, and to buy something. The shopkeeper is very angry about some other person. No, yeah, what do you want? Just came for some paint. What kind of paint? Some emulsion paint? Okay, just a minute, I'll come to you. What about you? Whoa. But then you just keep quiet. You don't fight with them. You don't be angry. You stay there. Then he comes, Yes, so sorry, what is you want you again? I want some emulsion. Oh, yeah, okay. Just a moment. What color? Okay, I bring you a chart. Come. And you're standing there. Something is happening. He comes back afterwards. Yes. Is that for inside or outside? For inside. Is it bedroom paint or something? Start to ask questions. Don't need to ask. Oh no, it's just something. Oh, you for the children. Oh, very, very good. Yes. Are you a tourist in this place, or is it? It's completely changed. Attitude change. In the end, sometimes they give you more. They're giving you things. They want to give you something. What's happening? It's happening not just once or twice, many, many, many times. Because the energy field is transformed. Just in their, in the way that they think. Something is also affecting the way that they think and feel. They start to come into a greater space inside. They feel more peace, more pleasant. They maybe don't make the link. Oh, it's you are doing. Some people do, yes. But they just feel better and they say, oh yes, thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Anytime you want any advice, you may come here. Here's my card, and they go over the top. It is a difference. It may not happen for a good person.
Spiritual person, yeah, and moral person, different. And moral person's presence is going to change.
A moral person, maybe who is given a position of, say, you may have a morally principled person who becomes the mayor or the prime minister of a country, then he can use that his morals to change things in that country. But a spiritual, an awakened being, maybe doesn't want the position of prime minister. Could become, it could be possible if it is ordained by the supreme power to play that role. It would happen, but they are not inclined to do that. But their effect in their environment is something that cannot be explained.
But sir, the example you gave of the person who is already awakened. But I was asking, the person who is on the path is not at that level.
Even as he's walking on the path, transformation is happening. He's not working for a goal down the road. His very walking is also his goal. He's not looking for an ideology at the end of the road.
He is already living the knowledge.
He is emerging in his understanding. Already there are spiritual influences coming out of such a being. The life is so infinitely wise. If you make decisions based only upon your local good, You see? And then you may say, wow, I stood for my principles, lost my job. But if you are genuinely on the path and say, you were with me, we were together in this way of understanding, and I am sharing with you about the ways of the Spirit, and you are learning about this. More and more you start to feel that I am not the one taking care of my life. My life is in a greater matrix that's flowing with more and more grace. You do see it also, you don't just believe it. It starts to actually produce little clues and evidence for you to pick up a bit. If such a situation should arise for you in the work that you're doing, let's say as a journalist or something like that, you would tend to, if you're listening to me, you would not go already with an intention so strong. You're just going. You would know that your life is within the great expression. You would have surrendered your own sense of self to the higher good with faith because you trust that. And you'll just go empty. Your mind wants to say, oh wow, you're doomed now. You're doomed. You're really in trouble. But something deeper down says, right now all is fine. All is fine. Let's see what happens.
Let's go.
And you will go. And you sit and say, good morning, sir, how are you? And blah, blah. And you just see what happens. You just see what happens. It's very, very different. My life is like this. Really? Every number of things are happening. So many things. Shri will come and you got to do this, you got this. And maybe somebody will go, I can't do all of this, it's too much. But I just say, no, I just do one by one, it happens. One by one, they come and go. One by one, they come and go. I'm not concerned. I don't try to control the results. Not deeply. Sometimes I have to stop and I have to make a decision. But I feel good in my heart with that decision. It feels right. And I cannot stand to do something that causes pain to someone else. You see? So we don't know what would happen. It depends where you put your priorities. If you say, whatever happened, I must not lose my job, then life may put you in some very, very strong situation, you see? And you are going to be called to do things which are horrible. You said, no, I need to keep my job. And you will not feel good, you'll not be happy. You have to say, I trust in a higher power. You have to be working at that level and say, Supreme Being, who am I to know what is good or where to go? All that I am and all that I can be is in you. And just remove my arrogance and my own projections. Let me walk in your light. And something's going to change for you. You don't need to know how. For all of us, we are experiencing a life that you could not have foreseen. You cannot have planned this life.
So we
every day.
So we need not to adjust our moral values. No.
You don't need to?
Adjust our moral values for this.
I would say there's something higher than just depending upon your moral values. And it's not that you're going to become immoral either. But you must work with a higher power and see how it does things, and your faith will grow that there's such a thing existing.
Sir, in our Hindus book, there is one Mahabharata. In Ramayana, Ram is always moral character.
He's always?
Do the only moral things.
Yes.
But the Krishna in Mahabharata, on the decisive moments of war, he chooses the wrong, immoral thing, like for killing Bhishma, it was like for killing Drona, it was like that his son has been killed. For killing Karna, he was armless. It was ruled not to kill him, but Lord Krishna told Arjun, don't think of right or wrong. Kill him.
Yes.
So message of Mahabharata is be good with the good people. Maybe I am wrong. Mm-hmm. And be and with bad people, you can do bad things. I'm wrong or right?
Lord Krishna was speaking from, there were two different standpoints. Lord Krishna's standpoint and Arjuna's standpoint was often different. Arjuna can be said at some point to even demonstrate higher moral principles than Krishna, because he seemed to be saying, of what value would it be to win a war when the ones whose lives you will take are people whose children you know and their wives you know? What kind of victory? That victory would not be sweet for me. It would be so painful. And Lord Krishna is saying something else. All these you see before you, they're already destined to experience this. What is can never not be, and what is not can never be. He was trying to teach him a higher thing, that this is just a play on which it will happen. What is more important is that you trust and you obey the one that you love and you call your master, that he was teaching him something. But he was sticking to, but my heart cannot do this because, these are human morals. How can I be doing this? As Krishna was teaching him something that, it is greater to trust in your Guru's word and do this. So it's a lot of conflict. I know that in Australia they brought out a court case against the Bhagavad Gita.
In Russia also.
Yeah, that is it's a violent book. And this type of thing. Because that higher understanding, human beings have not comprehended it. In fact, the higher understanding of most scriptures, the human culture has not understood the higher meaning, because they want to understand it intellectually and mentally, without actually going through the inner transformation that makes those words relevant at a superconscious level. But they have not done it. They speculate from a lower level and pass judgments based upon their limited standpoint. There are different kinds of truth, because you can say, if I tell the truth, suppose your wife is feeling a bit low, and then she puts on a dress and she just looks like a big tomato or something. Okay? And I said, darling, how do I look? And you know that if you say you look like a big tomato, she's going to be so crushed and stuff. And you said instead that, actually, it's not bad, it's not bad, but I preferred the other one that you were wearing before. And she goes, oh, so you don't like it then? And he said, no, it's okay, but it's not my favorite, You would find softer ways of putting it. Is it the truth that you think is really horrible? And you lied because you tell lies. It's not like that. Because of your love, your love is higher. Your love for her true feelings, especially, thank you. Your love for her true feelings over something like this. Whatever to say, okay, it was a horrible dress, that's not important. It was a beautiful dress, Okay, if she was going out,
then we have to tell
looking like a tomato, then you might say, baby, please, no, don't. It depends what kind of relationship you have. You see? You say, look, you cannot go out, you just look like a big fat tomato. I'm sorry, sweetheart, I know you're not feeling very well, but I mean...
Yeah. So that she should not be embarrassed in public.
Yes. Because otherwise, you save her being embarrassed in front of you, but she goes out inside and everybody laughs at her or something, then she goes, why didn't you tell me that? And then you say, actually, I still think you look really good. And then she's not going to trust you.
Yeah. Actually, it was just comical thing, but actually what I was saying, sometimes truth is too harsh to tell. And the person may be...
It depends. Again, my point continue. It depends. There are some people, they're very open. And immediately, you can speak frankly with them. You see? You can say things as they are. And they appreciate. There are others who seem more delicate. And automatically you sense there's a different way of speaking with them. You can still bring the truth to them, but in a much more gentle way. So this compassion also is important, Not just, this is true, I'll tell you like it is, because maybe the thing is true, but the way you tell it is a lie. because you're telling it from a place of, hardness, in compassion. Yeah. And so it is not true. So there are different shades of what is true. And I told a story one time that a certain man was going to satsang, loved going to satsang, but he was always so busy with his life and other things going on. And he would go to the Guruji and says, Guruji, I try to understand, but I can't understand what you're speaking. I don't, like this, and and I'm so busy. I have so many things to do. And can you just give me your teaching in a simple way I can understand, and just that way, So one day he's talking, the Guruji says, "Come here a moment, and let me take a look at you." He says, "Yes, Guruji, what? Let me look in your hand." Looked in his hand like this. He says, "Oh, what? Why? What's wrong, Guruji?" He says, "Oh my God, I wish I'd seen before. You've got a very strong line here, a lifeline, and it is showing that you've only got 1 week to live." Sorry? You have only 1 week to live. What? How can you say this? It's in here, you want week to live. Sorry, you will not, you probably will not be able to realize the self now. It's too short time. Sorry, I cannot help you. So the man goes home and he's crushed. He's totally crushed in his heart. His wife says, "Come down and come and eat, Come, we just made the food, it's going to get cold." He says, "What? Food? Why should I be interested in food? I've got 7 days to live. Please don't talk to me about food. Take me." And he went in his room, locked himself in. So each day they come with something else. The children are having their end of term concert, and he's meant to go. "Father, you are late. Why don't you come?" No, I cannot come. I'm sorry. I've got now 5 days to live. I can't come here. He's contemplating what it means. Who really am I? What is going to die? What's going to die? Because I'm very much alive now. So what is going to die? What it means to die? And he's continually contemplating. And then it comes down to just 1 day. 1 day left to live. He's in his room. His wife will not. She knocks on the door. She says they're having a big board meeting at the office, and you've got to be there. This is all our investments are there. He says, "I don't want to go anywhere with an investment. In 1 day I won't be here to talk about anything. Please leave me alone. Please, you take care of it. It's all yours now. I've had enough of that." He kept on his meditation. So on the last day, the Guruji comes to his house, knocks on the door. The wife answers. He says, "How is she? How is he?" She says, "He's terrible. He won't come. I haven't spoken to him now since yesterday." The Guruji goes to the door and knocks on the door. Bang, 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 bang. He comes out, opens the door, radiant. Guruji says, "How are you?" He says, Guruji, you lied to me. You see, because I see what you have done. You lied to me to save my life, because you see that I was wasting my time with all these things, and so I would not focus on the thing you tell me to do. But when you told me I have 7 days to live, everything came very strongly for me, and I couldn't waste time with these things. So I focused, what is it that's going to die? And I found out last night, yes, I cannot die. The body will go, maybe it will go today, I don't mind. But what I am cannot die. So in this example, you can say, Guruji lied, but it was for a good purpose.
Yeah.
You see? So sometimes truth lies, you can say. But it's not a big lie. It's a lie for higher good, for love's sake. So we cannot just put things down in such black and white terms. There are many shades of the way the truth is manifest. So this is just one of them.
Actually, if one is awakened, he has no rules, whether truth, whether lie, because he will decide spontaneously, out of compassion. So his rule is compassion. His rule is not truth. Is it true?
Yeah. Well, it is. It can be everything. He may have a structure, but that structure will be to serve everybody. Whatever is felt to be the greatest good in whatever situation, it will find. You see, because he's not committed to deriving some personal benefit. Always is for the greater good. You see? Yeah. Whatever is needed.
Babaji, if someone slaps me, Gandhi says, put your second cheek.
Yeah.
And other ways, if someone slaps me, I will too slap him.
Yes.
To live in this world, this is the same word which is inhuman.
Yeah.
What is the right way?
Well, it was Jesus first who went to say, if someone slaps you on the right cheek, give to him the other cheek as well. What he was really trying to say, because if somebody goes whack and you go, it's like you're saying, okay, hit me the next. You see, he's not saying, you should offer the next one to be hit. He was saying that rather than retaliate, let them hit you even the other side, and don't retaliate. And Gandhi says, an eye for an eye is making the whole world blind,
Yes.
isn't it? So these are just different ways. There is no one fixed way. The best way is find the truth of who you are. And in different situations, your being will manifest a different response, completely fresh. You're unpredictable. But it will always be appropriate for the needs of that situation, that moment.
So
the one who is awake knows that they cannot just live. They cannot just live by, just sort of like fixed and rigid ways, because the spirit is not like that. It is not like a fixed shape. It is constantly readjusting, realigning, and so on. It's very fluid, more fluid than water. I don't like to give people too many practices. Because you can't practice what you are. You should be what you are. And for that, we only have to remove misunderstanding, and in a heart that is bursting open to know and to be what is destined.